the moment of inertia, or the moments of inertia in a model airplane, they play the same role that the weight of the airplane does when it comes to linear acceleration. So you have an airplane and you increase the throttle setting. The airplane is going to accelerate, but how quickly it accelerates is directly related to how much the airplane weighs. Okay, which I think is easy to understand. Well, similarly, when you have an aileron input, how quickly the airplane is going to rotate is directly proportional to the moment of inertia along this axis. Okay, and the moment of inertia is mainly determined by the distribution of mass or weight along the wing. And just to give you an example, if the wing doesn't have any taper, it's got a lot more mass towards the wingtips. And if you've ever paid attention, you'll notice that a wing without taper tends to turn a lot more slowly. And of course, the part of it is the friction with the air. There's a lot more wing area out at the wingtips. So part of it is there's more mass also on the wingtips. So it just takes more energy to turn the airplane. And in the most part, you can ignore the moments of inertia. In fact, computing them can be it's just a lot of work, because you have to take into account the position of everything in the airplane, and the equations can get complicated. But the reason why you can ignore moments of inertia most of the time is because most airplanes are built very similarly. There's a motor in the front, there's a wing, there's a bit of mass in the center, you have a long skinny fuselage, you have a tail. So they tend to look very similar to each other. And that's why you can have books like mine that say, make the horizontal tail be 10% or 20% of the size of the wing. It's just because airplanes tend to be similar, and we already know that making the horizontal be 20% of the size of the wing, that will probably work okay. The times that you get into trouble is when the airplane is of an unusual configuration. For example, some airplanes, instead of having the motor on the nose, have it in the middle, either because it's a aerial photography, so you put it here, or it's a flying wing where you put the motor in the middle. And in those cases, you may notice that the elevator is actually a lot more effective, because the moment of inertia is there's less inertia that the elevator has to fight against. So when you give it up elevator, the airplane is going to react more quickly. And if you think about it, it will make sense, because the mass is around the center of gravity, so there's less force that it has to be moving when it's rotating the airplane. And like I said before, an airplane without taper also has more inertia along the roll axis. Another example might be if you have winglets, which most of the time I don't recommend using winglets on models, but that's a whole another subject. But winglets is a lot of mass at the wingtip, so you may realize that you need bigger ailerons to be able to control the airplane. So these are things to think about. Again, most of the time you don't need to worry about moments of inertia, but if the configuration is unusual, you may need to make the control surfaces bigger or smaller to compensate.